This is quite a U-turn from abandoning in-house manufacturing altogether.
Right, like predecessors to Pat Gelsinger had flirted with the idea of completely outsourcing chip manufacturing. I think Wall Street expected a move where Intel would outsource more, at least, than it currently does. But really, it's a case of doubling down on domestic production capacity. Those two new plants in Chandler, Arizona, are going to be adjacent to its existing facility, where it already employs 12,000 people. And as you said, this new foundry unit is going to see the company manufacture chips for other companies. I think that what people don't understand often is if you look at all of the chip stocks, chip companies that we talk about, many of those companies just design and license the designs of semiconductors. They then outsource the manufacturing, like Qualcomm being a good example. TSMC is widely regarded as the world's best manufacturer of chips. It manufactures chips both for competitors of Intel, but also some of Intel's customers. So there's really some competition that's going to be happening here longer term. What's interesting is we also know that TSMC were themselves eyeing a new factory in Arizona. So this, based on the movements we're seeing after hours, not just Intel being up significantly, you see they're up 7%, Taiwan Semiconductor being down 4.8%, there should be some kind of shift, some kind of change in the global supply chain for semiconductors. And that's been such a focus of all the conversations we've had in recent months.
Ed, I want to throw up this chart actually kind of going to what you're saying when it comes to the state of play among the big chip makers. You can see Intel very much the bottom of the pack when it comes to the stock performance. In fact, right. Advanced Micro and United Micro, the leaders of that pack. So you talk about the impact on the supply chain. How does this reverberate across the competition?
Well, we have the lines out of the call, which has just finished, from CEO Pat Gelsinger. Effectively, the first thing is that Intel is going to go looking for customers, right, for its foundry unit. On the call, they named names like Qualcomm and Apple. What's really interesting as well, there's a second story happening in the chip sector that you see the likes of Apple and Google designing their own chips and then needing someone to build them. Well, Intel wants to muscle in on that business. The biggest story here is that for decades, not just the last 5 years, decades, Intel was at the forefront of manufacturing chips. How you manufacture a semiconductor heavily impacts the efficiency, the cost effectiveness of the final product. And in recent years, Intel has just fallen behind. That is how TSMC managed to get ahead. It just had more efficient manufacturing processes leading to better products. And the bearish elements on Wall Street, if you look at the commentary in reaction to this, they're basically saying this is all well and good, Intel putting its money where its mouth is, but it now has ground to make up because TSMC has such a lead. So that's kind of the factor, the balancing equation that the investors have to make here.